Hi, and welcome to the Quick and Dirty Romance Podcast. We're your hosts, romance authors and bi-coastal friends for life. I'm Skye McDonald, author of the new hockey romance, Scored On.
I'm Sarah Smith, author of the steamy hockey romance, Fake as Puck.
And together, we're Sarah Skye, author of the best-selling Unlikely Pairings series.
Each episode will dive deep into what it's like to be a contemporary romance author. We'll talk writing inspiration, give you the inside scoop about the publishing world, chat about how we write those infamous sex scenes, and more. And then we'll pull out and wrap it up in 30 minutes or less, but we promise to leave you satisfied.
So if you haven't already read our books, be sure to check them out after you listen to this podcast. Please review this podcast, and then go ahead and DM us with any questions or requests for future episodes that you may have.
So today's topic is one we touched upon not too long ago, but after a wave of comments on social media, we wanted to talk a little bit more about the relationship between ARC readers and authors. Specifically, the requirements that a lot of authors may have when it comes to being an ARC reader for their books.
Yeah, I am so ready for this. Having a brand new release out as of the day we are recording, even though they're not the day of the release, and working with wonderful ARC readers, I am ready. Sarah, you have been monitoring a little bit more of the tea. So where should we face plant into this one?
Okay, yes. Okay, so full disclosure, I saw this being discussed on Threads, and I know not everybody is on Threads, but I feel like ever since Twitter kind of went the way that it did, like a year and a half ago, I haven't been on Twitter as much. And the platform that I have preferred to be on for Twitter-like activities and musings is Threads. And I think overall it's been really a really nice replacement, if you want to call it that. But I've noticed that recently there's been a lot of discussion among both readers and authors about what it's like to be an ARC reader and what it's like to have an ARC reader team for your books, and specifically like the requirements that some authors have for being able to be on their ARC team and reading a book before they release it. And I think that that's not unusual. I think from my understanding, and most of the authors that I know who are my friends, they when they release a book, they obviously have an ARC team who reads that book before the book comes out so that they can like get reviews in time for pub day and just help with the promo and the release of the book. But I noticed, and I didn't realize this, but a lot of readers, not like a ton, but like enough where this became a thing on Thread, were expressing some frustration about certain requirements that authors have when it comes to being a part of their ARC reader team. And I just thought that was really interesting because I think, like with anything, and maybe this is appropriate too because we're all romance authors, I think a lot of this is rooted in maybe like a misunderstanding of what exactly, I guess what exactly goes into, as an author, putting together an ARC team for the release of your book. And I think, I think in a perfect world, you would have a book, have your ARCs, send them to your readers, and all of your readers would love it and give them 1,000,000 stars on pub day, and it would just be the most wonderful experience. But I think we all know that like that's definitely not how that can go. So I don't know. I just thought it would be like helpful, I think, from the author's point of view to talk about like what goes into like just putting together our ARC reader teams as authors, and just to like clarify any confusion, and to just, because I think, like whether you're the author or the reader, you only know that POV, right? Unless you're both, I guess, unless you've been an ARC reader and then you became an author. Maybe you're an author who also like ARC reads for a lot of other authors. I mean, that's totally, people do that. But I think the reason why I was seeing a lot of frustration on Threads from readers about certain authors having certain requirements for their ARC team is because maybe they don't understand like the reason why we put certain requirements for ARCs and stuff.
Well, as this podcast is about the inside scoop on being a romance author, I hope that a bunch of readers are listening to this, specifically ARC readers or people who have thought about joining ARC teams, because it is our goal not to be telling you how much you suck or how much your expectations are unreasonable, but rather to offer you the insight around what it's like to be an author, maybe even more specifically here, an indie author, right, who is pulling together their own ARC team, right? Although, I mean, sure, it also, if you're working with one of the big publishers, it's a similar concept, but really right now we're talking about authors who pull together their own ARC teams and what they need from you. So I really hope that we can frame this, and I think that it will be good to frame this as this is what we see. And of course, we're always open for comments and insights about how it might be on the other side. But yeah, I think this is a really interesting topic. So let's start with one point that has been under debate and kind of unpack that one, because yeah, let's start there. I have thoughts.
Yeah, 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 and that's I'm glad you clarified that, because I guess I didn't specifically say that. I'm talking about like specifically indie self-published romance authors, who typically, because you're indie and self-published, you do a lot of this work on your own. You don't have a publisher to handle your ARC team, so you're the one who is taking control of that and distributing ARCs and dealing with readers and dealing with their feedback and following up and all that stuff.
Right, right. Although I will say, and I have said before, as a hybrid author, the experience that I had with a publisher getting me, and not, it wasn't the publisher's fault, but the experience that I had with NetGalley was terrible. So, you know, that's a whole other episode, but like, long story short,
hate NetGalley.
I would never use it. There are other platforms that I get my ARC readers from, as well as my team. But long story short, I wasn't pleased with the quality, the free, or the timeliness, or the fact that they didn't have to publish it to Amazon. So like, and that's, I think, probably a thing we're about to talk about, because that's a thing that I'm very, very clear about when I call for ARC readers. So what's like one thing that you saw come out, like a specific detail that we can kind of address?
Yeah, so the major thing that I noticed when I was just skimming through threads and reading people's takes on this particular topic is the fact that there are, and not all indie authors do this, but a lot of them, when you are on their ARC team, they specifically ask that if you read the ARC and you want to give it, you know, a critical review or a low star rating, that you wait until a certain amount of time after pub day before you publish your review. And that and it's not like it's a specific standard time or anything. It depends on the author and what they prefer. I personally, what I do is I have similar I guess, to explain from my point of view, when I do a reader ARC team, I put out a call on social media for anybody who would like to read an ARC of whatever book that I'm going to publish. And then I always have like a document where I stipulate, like, you know, what the book is about. So, because obviously I don't want anybody who hates steamy romance to read my book if they wouldn't enjoy it. I stipulate what the book is about, when it comes out, when I would like the ARC reviews to be submitted. And then I always have something that says, you know, if you this is totally fine if you didn't enjoy this book. I completely understand my writing and my stuff isn't everybody's cup of tea, but can you please, if you have a critical or negative review, could you please wait until X amount? It's usually like a week or 2 weeks or something after pub day before uploading it. And I know that that is not something that all readers agree with. And I understand, I completely get that that might not be something that everybody is on board with for many reasons. But from an author's point of view, I think it's important to address like why I would do something like that. It's not because I'm trying to like alienate or piss off people or make like weird requirements for people to follow just for the heck of it. As an indie author right now, I mean, everything that readers do counts a lot for me in my book.
So much.
Yes. And that's not lost on me. And that is why I love my readers so much, is that like when they take the time to read my book and they take the time to write a positive review, that means everything. And that counts for a lot, especially when the first day that your book is coming out on on Amazon on Pub Day. So I publish on Amazon, and I don't pretend to know the inner workings of Amazon or the algorithm or how they decide to do things. I don't know anything about that, but what I do have is the experience of publishing on my own multiple times over the past like 4 to 5 years. And something that I've noticed is if your book is getting a lot of critical reviews and low star ratings, Amazon won't, like your book's just not going to show up on Amazon.
I think that's reasonable of Amazon too.
Yeah, right, because it's a product, and if it has a low rating, they don't want to push it up to show to its users, and I totally get that. But as an author, I think it's important for people to understand that, like, of course, we are authors because we love writing, we're passionate about our stories, we love our readers, but it's also like it's our livelihood. This is our business. This is how I pay my bills. This is how we make a living. And I think it's important, as much as it is to be passionate about the creative and writing side of it, you have to be business minded in that way too. And it's just better for me and my author romance business to prioritize things that are like that would benefit me. And like, obviously positive reviews benefit an author more than negative reviews.
Yeah. So let's back this up, right?
Yeah.
Let's back this up, because everything that you're saying is a yes for me. This is a business, right? This is a business. And, if you're reading for your buddy, I mean, I'd hope that you wouldn't slam your buddy's book. But the ARC reader author dynamic is a business dynamic, right? It's to quote The Godfather, it's not personal, Sonny. It's just business. Like, it is a business. We are interacting into a business agreement with you. And I don't mean that to be prissy. I mean that to say that there are rules on both sides, right? And there are boundaries and expectations on both sides. And if I am giving you a copy of my book, then I want a positive review. And if you cannot deliver that, that's okay, but you are not delivering the service that I'm asking for. And if you can't do it, I'm not saying, oh, you're a piece of garbage, or how dare you not like my book. One of the things that I say to my ARC readers is, if you cannot leave a positive review, please notify me immediately, right? If you want to leave that review, if you feel like the world will not, or will be done a disservice by not knowing how much you dislike my book, you should wait, because I've given you the book in exchange for a service, and the service is a positive review, right? And it doesn't mean, like I say, I can't say this enough, you don't have to give a positive review, but you should not. I do not think that ARC readers should be slamming the books that they're getting. If you're doing that, that is not the business deal that we entered into. If you would like to get books and troll them, I mean, okay, that's your journey, but like, then why are you getting them from the author? Why? I would suggest that, and certainly I have opened books that I have expected to love and been like, oh God, I can't. Like, whether it was poor quality of writing or just a very cringy story, like things that, even from, like, I'll be honest, even from people who I consider peers that I've read, that is just like, and I'm not naming names ever. That's in the vault. I would never say that. But definitely there have been books that have been bestsellers, #1 New York Times, that I'm like, this is going to be great. And I'm like, oh God. Oh,
Yeah.
it's okay. But when you have called upon people to help you with your pub day, you are asking for people who enjoy your stories to leave those reviews to boost your algorithm. That is the point of an ARC reader, right? And so saying, I cannot honestly leave this a good review, is one thing. Giving it a bad review, I think, is not part of the boundaries of the relationship that we're asking for. And, maybe, and I guess that can change from author to author. Maybe some authors are like, put it all up. I don't mind a poor review, right? Like, if you don't like the book, that's okay. That's okay. Like, I don't want a bunch of bad reviews, but if you have voluntarily entered into reading this in advance and you cannot leave it a positive review, I do understand, but you need to talk to me. That is not what I asked for when I gave you the book. And I think absolutely, not only with algorithm, but also with promotion, like, you don't have to let everybody know. And if you do, then okay, wait a little while until the release is out. And I mean, there's not to say that you're not allowed to express yourself, right? Although I do have to wonder like what hill you're trying to die on, but if it is so important to you that everybody know that you hated this book, then please just wait, because that's not what the author asked for. That's just not what we asked for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think if we boiled it down to looking at the idea of a business transaction, I am giving you this and in exchange, this is what I want. Okay. Can you meet that? Yes, then we have a deal. Can you not meet that? Okay, then we don't have a deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that that's really important explain, just like where as an author you feel like you're coming from. I also want to put it out there, like I have had, so I've done multiple like indie book releases. So I've had multiple ARC reader teams that I've, you know, sent my book to and communicated with. And I've had readers who are wonderful, lovely readers who I adore, who, they've read one of my books and they're like, and they've emailed me and they're like, you know what, this just isn't hitting with me.
Same.
I swear, I never get mad. I'm never offended. I'm never upset. I thank them. I'm like, totally, I completely understand. Thank you for letting me know. And thank you for not like putting me on blast on Amazon on my pub day. I really appreciate it. And I feel like that's just a really healthy dynamic to have.
Yeah.
As an author with your ARC readers, because I don't ever want to be somebody who thinks that like, everything I do is perfect and incredible. And how dare anybody like dislike this book? Like, it's writing, it's romance, it's books. Like, not everybody is going to like what we put out. Even your diehard fans, like you said, like, like you might release something and you could be like, oh, this is amazing. Like, you're going to love this book. And they're like, you know what? It just didn't really hit for me. And that's okay. That's totally
Yeah.
fine. I appreciate the honesty, and I appreciate that, like, there's kindness in this interaction. Like, they're not trying to ruin me by, putting up a negative review. And I appreciate, and I would never get mad at an ARC reader for being honest with me, because I feel like that's the crux of that relationship, honesty, and just trying to do good things for each other in whatever way that is, based on your relationship with your ARC readers. I also want to stipulate, like, if a person, on pub day, if a person like buys my book or reads it on Kindle Unlimited and they pay the Kindle Unlimited, fee or whatever, and they hate it and they want to leave a bad review, that's completely fine. And that is totally different, because you purchased something and you didn't like it, and that is your right as a consumer. It's just in the context of an ARC reader team, I feel like there's a dynamic and a relationship that you're hoping to keep up.
Yes.
And you're hoping that it's like a pleasant, respectful, professional relationship. And and you're right, Skye, like, there are authors who are like, I don't care if I don't care if you want to give me 0 stars, 1 stars on my pub day. I don't care. And that's great. Like, that's perfect. And that's their right to have that. Like, if that's what they want, they can have that. But it's also like, it's your right as an author to have whatever requirements for your ARC team is you want. Some of them are ridiculous, I will agree. Like, some people have been sharing some pretty ridiculous like ARC requirements, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty wild. I would never ask my readers to do that. But at the same time, you're not, as an ARC reader, assuming that the author made it clear what their expectations and requirements are. If you read them and you're like, you know what, I don't feel comfortable doing this, you don't have to read their ARC and you don't have to say yes. And it's one thing, it's a totally different thing if you feel like you're being pressured, or if an author misled you, if they said like, oh yeah, no, this is fine. And then they come back and like, hey, you need to do, like, that's totally different. And I hope it's clear that Skye and I, when we publish our books, we don't, or at least I don't think I act like that with my readers.
And this is good for readers and authors too, because all of this is like we said, it is a business interaction, and you don't have to enter into it. And as the person who's initiating it, as the author, you do want to be respectful of people's time, abilities, and willingness to work with you, right? I am thankful to my ARC readers who want to read for me and who keep coming back to read it again and again. They help me a tremendous amount. And, that's wonderful. And I don't want to ask things of them that are going to alienate them. However, I am asking things of them, right?
Mhm.
And that's the understanding here, but if I'm supposed to, if I'm asking them to spend time making graphics in Canva for my book, like that seems unreasonable to me. But if I asked you to do it in your intake form and you said yes, then you said yes. You did not have to say yes. You
Right.
could have said, and I'm just talking about like a hypothetical author because I have no idea what people are asking. Maybe they're asking to be mailed 50 blue M&Ms. I don't know. But like it is okay to say no. And I realize you may want their arc, but like it is, if you are saying yes to the author, you're saying yes to the author. And on the same time, authors, make sure you're thinking about what people are having to say yes to, right? Like one of the things I was thinking as we were getting this together, and one of the things that I would assume is being said is that arc reading is not my job, right? Like it's not my profession. Um, at the same time, when I was thinking about that, I was thinking, but a lot of authors, this is not their day job either, right? So whether or not we are looking, like it is always a business, right? Unless everything's perma-free and you're just, putting it out there, that's awesome. But if you are in any way in a business, a lot of authors do this as a second job because it does not pay all the bills. And those of us who are doing it as a full-time job, it very often does not pay all the bills. So, we're working very hard. But for many authors, as they're working on a pub day, they're also working a full-time job or they're parenting, right?
Mhm.
So there's a lot going on. But there's a lot going on for ARC readers too. And remembering that what you're doing is agreeing to do something. And I know my Aquarius is showing right now because I'm like, why would people be upset? Just say no. Like, I don't
Right.
understand the feels. Like, why would this be an emotional thing? Like, and I have to say, like, it is not emotional for me if somebody does not like my book. I do not. And I know there are wide, and I just probably could do a whole episode. It does not hurt my feelings if people don't want to read my book. I am very at home in the fact that my books do well and they are well received. And, certainly I have had titles that have hit way better and way stronger than others. But it is not about like I can't take the criticism. It is about this is how this business works. And when we are moving towards pub day and we've asked you to look at something in advance for free, well, it's not free because your time is not free, but we have given you a product. We are asking for something specific, and to me, there is no emotion involved in it. But again, my Aquarius is showing.
Yeah,
Aquarius
no,
do not like emotion. They're like, let's just keep it clean.
no, I think that's a good point to acknowledge that because I think for some people it can be a very emotional or makes them like nervous
Mhm.
to enter into something like this because they feel pressure or whatever it is because for each person it's different how they feel about this. But um no, I think that's a honestly I think part of the reason why people were on threads expressing their frustration with this is because maybe they didn't I honestly think maybe they didn't understand what exactly what is required as an author when you publish a book on your own as an indie and self-published author, like what exactly is required of you to do in order to have your book just even like make it out there in the world. And there's a lot of stuff you have to do, which again, like nobody's forcing us to do this job. Like we choose to do it because we love it. We choose to do it because we enjoy doing this as a job, but it is a job and it is okay to have requirements and stipulations for how you want the people that you're working with, for example, ARC readers, like it's okay to have those things for them, have guidelines for them. And again, like just like it's okay for an ARC reader to be like, oh, I didn't realize that's what if they're reading your guidelines and or whatever it is, you've told them what your expectations are, and the reader's like, you know what, I can't do this. Like they have every right to say like I'm not gonna be able to do this. I think the thing is that like I think a lot of indie authors have had an experience where they thought that like they had a good connection with their ARC readers, and then like they realize, oh wow, this particular ARC reader has been like really negative, or like they've been leaving really negative reviews for all the books that I've, and that, not that this happens a lot, but it is something that I have heard other authors express frustration with. Like they've had people on their ARC teams who have either repeatedly violated the guidelines on that they've set for them, or they've noticed that they just don't like their books, and so they're leaving like very critical reviews, which is kind of confusing to me because I get it. Like you maybe you like you try out this author's book for the first time as an ARC reader, and you're like, yeah, I'll give it a chance, and then you read it and you're like, that's not what wasn't really for me. I didn't really like it, but maybe I'll like their next one. So you try it and you're like, eh. And so you're like, well, clearly this is not the author for me, and then you move on. So it's just, I think it's just, I guess that's one aspect of this that I think some people don't realize. It's like authors are dealing with like this kind of stuff, and that can be very draining. And maybe that's part of the reason why authors have certain guidelines and stipulations that they want readers to follow, because they don't want to have to deal with the unpleasantness of certain readers, being very critical of them, in that way.
Here's a spicy question.
Mm-hmm.
If you read a book and you have been given this book to do for review, okay, not on your own, just like however somebody reached out to you, and you don't like the book, do you ever lie and give it like a brief but positive review? Or are you like, I can't do that?
Okay, so I've never done that because thankfully, I think it's very thankfully I've always been really clear about what I enjoy, like both reading and writing, which is like sexy rom-coms and contemporary romance. So I haven't been asked to read anything where I was like, oh my God, that was terrible. What am I going to do? I have had situations where I've been approached to read something, and then I read like the blurb, or I read like or I get some information about the author, and the blurb either is, I'm just like, yeah, there's no way I'm not gonna like this book, or the author has done some things that like I don't personally like agree with. Nothing like illegal or anything, like just like some stuff I'm like, you know what, that's not something I would do. So then I politely decline. So I have done that. But I haven't been in a situation, fortunately, where I've read something and I'm like, oh my God, that was terrible. I don't feel like I can say anything about it. So now I'm leaving like a dishonest review, like, oh my God, I love it. Like that's never happened. I would feel really, really uncomfortable leaving a glowing 5-star review for a book I did not like. And I have not done that thus far in my life. And I don't plan on doing that ever. So I would like to think if I were ever in that situation, because it isn't pleasant as it is, I would like to think that I would be like, you know what, I can't review this the way that you need me to. I'm so sorry. Just like I would expect a reader to say to me if I gave them my book, the arc of my book, and they tell me like, you know what, I just can't. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. That's okay. How about you? I want to know, have you?
No, I haven't.
There were my books, wasn't it, Skye?
That's right. Her books are great. No, her books are great. No, but I've definitely rounded up. Okay. So there have been books I have read that, and this is sort of my bar on that. Like, and especially not if I've been asked to read it, but if I just chose to read it and it's like one of my peers or somebody that I don't want to, drag in any way, shape, or form. I never want to drag anybody. Who am I kidding? But if it is a perfectly like good book and I just didn't like it, like it's just not my cup of tea, I will give it like 4 stars. And I will say, like, if it is a poorly written book or if there is something about it that is problematic, no, I can't. Like, I am very fussy about grammar. Like, it doesn't have to be, I don't know, super fancy stuff, but like, if your grammar is crap, I can't. And if your characters are toxic, I have a real problem with that. Like, I can't leave a positive review for something where people are just behaving like jerks. Like, I just don't like, not like, oh, they're kind of spicy or anything. Just like, no, these are douchebags and I don't like their behaviors are toxic. Right. So I definitely will withdraw from reviewing, or if I voluntarily picked up the book and I'm like, oh gosh, this is a mess, I'll just not say anything about it, right?
Yeah.
But if I did voluntarily pick up the book and it's because I didn't like it, like it just wasn't my cup of tea, I will leave it like a 4-star and a brief review because I want to help my fellow author, but I can't go into why everyone should read this book right now. I don't want to, but I wouldn't say, like, I would say that it wasn't my thing, but that, not that it was a bad book.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think that that's totally reasonable. I also, I guess I should clarify that, like, I'm a very avid romance reader still, but like my time is very like my free time to read isn't as much as it used to be because like I'm writing a lot, I'm publishing, I'm working. So I do review all the books that I read and enjoy. It's just sometimes they're not very long reviews.
Yeah.
And I hope, and it's not because like I didn't love it, it's because like I don't have the time to write like 4 paragraphs about this, but I can write 2 sentences about how I loved it. And I did love it. I did enjoy it. And it's not because I hated it. And sometimes I think people think like, oh wow, it's not a long review, they're lying. I'm like, no, I just don't have the time to like write a lot. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but going back to the whole ARC reader, like, yeah, I don't understand why a reader, I understand, like you said, I'll give this person a try. That sounds interesting. Oh, it's not for me. Maybe I'll try one more. Oh, it's not for me. But even then, like, why would you be interested in putting up poor reviews? What is
Right.
your goal? Like,
Yeah.
and if you know that you don't like the person's writing, or if you know you're going to go into it to give a critical review, why? What is that
Yeah.
doing? I don't
Right.
understand that. Like,
Yeah, I don't either. And I mean, I think most authors have had situations where they've had, negative review. Like everybody gets a negative
sure.
review. Like that's just the life of an author and it sucks, but it is the way that it is. Um, I think I've had an experience where like I've accidentally seen like a bad review and it totally sucks, or where somebody who was very kind was like letting me know that there was a reader who was like hate reading all of my books, and I was just like, well, that's fine. So I mean, so there are people that
Yeah,
exist that do that. I personally would never do that.
no.
But it does make you wonder like what is wrong with, like, I mean, whatever, like I guess there are worse things in the world that you could be doing
No,
than
but yeah,
hate.
but it's bizarre, like, of all the books and all the stories that there are out there, like, why would you make it your agenda to like
Right.
troll? I mean, I understand that that's what trolls do. Like, I don't understand trolls. I had a troll on Twitter like years and years ago,
Oh
and
my God, I remember. Yeah.
yeah, that was crazy. And but like I didn't even know about it at first, and then I found out. I was like, but why though? I don't know you. Like, it's so
Right.
confusing to me, the
Yeah.
way, like, of all the books that you might read, and of all the time that you might spend enjoying a book, to be like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hate read books. Like, I'm sorry, who hurt you? Like,
Right, right. No, that's like, I know we're veering into like a kind, I mean, this is
oh, yeah,
tangent.
we're off topic. Bring it
Yeah.
back because to wrap it up.
No,
We're
it's
just
not.
going all over the place. We're just spraying
uh,
this all over the place right now.
No. I didn't mean it like that. I just meant like this is tangentially related to
It
the whole
is.
issue. Yeah, because I know that there are like authors who have issues with, like there are readers who are going to act like that. And as an author, you don't want to deal with readers like that. So you hope that like the people who are volunteering to read your book ahead of time are people who would genuinely enjoy it, not people who are like purposely trying to like be mean to you or to take you down or whatever. It's just, I don't know. I know that this is a topic that we could like probably talk forever about. And depending on who you talk to, you could get like 90 different opinions about what is quote unquote right or wrong about it. But I think like the gist of it is, I think it's just important for like readers and authors to understand where each other are coming from, and that nothing that either of us are doing is meant to hurt the other. Like at the end of the day, we have the same goal, and that's to like enjoy fun stories and to share
Yeah.
them with people who would want to read them and get joy out of them. And that's really, honestly, that's really the point of why you do what you do and why I do what I do and why readers read the books that they do, is because they want something happy and enjoyable. And that's really all we're trying to do.
So the takeaways here that I'm hearing are: authors, please stipulate in your sign-up form what you are asking for. And you know what? I didn't even wait. One thing I didn't say that I will make note of that I ask for, and I will make exceptions for some of my tried and true readers on my ARCs. If you can't leave the review on Amazon, I'm sorry. I love you. I don't really want you. That is one of my things. And I do have some readers who have been with me a long time that like, Skye, I'll put it up on BookBub. I'll put it on Goodreads. Also, hot take here. I don't like Goodreads. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it out loud. Goodreads. No, I like BookBub. Follow me on BookBub. Recommend me on BookBub. I don't care about Goodreads. I'm sorry. I know it's a big platform. I think it's too big. Anyway, like one of my stipulations is if you cannot leave this on Amazon, you need to let me know. I don't even say like, F off. I'm like, you need to tell me right now because I'm going to ask for it to be on Amazon. It doesn't matter anywhere like it matters on Amazon. Like I am on KU. I am an Amazon author right now. Like I have been wide, but KU is doing me well and I need you to post to Amazon. And some people are not allowed to post on Amazon. I understand that. But if you can't do it, you got to tell me. So bringing this back, that was my tangent. Authors, please make clear in your sign-up forms what exactly you are asking for. Do not suddenly ask people to mail you 50 blue M&Ms if that is not in your sign-up form. If you need that for some reason, put it in the sign-up form. Readers, ARC readers specifically, please understand and read carefully what you are signing up for. Without emotion, without offense, understand what the author is asking and that this is why the author needs this. Why they need the M&Ms, I don't know. I don't know why I'm hooked on M&Ms today. But that this is what the author has asked you to do. This is a business relationship. It's not personal, okay? If you do not feel like you can meet these requirements, don't say yes. It's okay. Authors, be clear. Readers, be clear, right? And then the thing that I always used to tell all of my students, assume best intentions, but don't hesitate to tell somebody if you have a problem.
Yes. Yeah. No, I think that that's beautiful advice. I think, because that's, I think what you said, it's just of the situation, just clear communication, making your expectations on both sides known, and just acting with kindness and courtesy, like.
It is the way to get through life. It is the way to get through hosting a book con, calling for ARC readers, and life in general. Assume best intentions and let somebody know if you have something you need to say.
Yes.
That was good for me.
Oh, hell yeah, it was good for me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like what you hear, please leave us a review. Even if you don't like what you hear, this isn't an ARC, leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen. Go read our books. You can find us on Instagram. We are at author Sarah Skye. I am on Instagram, BookBub, TikTok, Facebook. I think that's it. At author Skye McDonald. And Sarah?
Well, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok. I am at author Sarah S. We love to hear from you, so reach out to us and DM us with any questions or requests for future episodes.
Thanks so much for listening, guys. We'll be back soon with episodes of just the two of us, as well as more episodes with friends. Take care.